The problem is Northwest. The same people, same culture, killing each other, stealing each other's cattle, burning their villages. As I said, we are going to treat them in the language they will understand. We have given the police and the military power to be ruthless.
Sometimes we get that, and that's what's happening to people in the streets. That's why they're moving. That's why they're demonstrating. That's why they're defying even threats from the police, from the government. If you demonstrate, you're a threat to us. If you do this, we'll deal with you. We'll talk to you in language which you understand. It doesn't wash with anybody any longer. Because if the nation is on a suicide slide, the people who feel that they do not deserve that kind of suicidal plunge, they have a right to say, sorry.
Hello, welcome to Yorexit 2021. Sense and Nonsense, where we intend to unravel the intellectuality of a peaceful exit of the tribes or groups in Nigeria trying to exit the country. My name is Noah Omoluabi. This program is running live in many channels as advertised and will be available in the archives. The chats are open for your contributions and phone lines will be open soon. The primary intellectual challenge that is determining, the factors governing the primary motives of those principal actors who are agitating for self-determination in the Nigerian groups. What are the primary intellectual challenges? These are the things we want to talk about this afternoon. Let me start by saying, finally, Buhari talked. We all saw him on Arise News, and where certain things became clear right away. One, it was Buhari himself. So it's not somebody that was hiding in Aso Rock all this while, or whoever it may be, or whatever may be happening. Somebody exchanged. It was Buhari, and he was articulate. You could hear him. The man was in his senses. Okay, you may fault his judgment, but it was him, which brings up certain questions. Which means he has been watching the events himself, and his mind is clearly made up on certain issues. Judging by his rather more frequent appearances, people are thinking that his concern is mainly about the 2023 elections and possibly the reinforcement of feudalism in Nigeria, in the Nigerian polity. There are several issues in the air, and each one of them can engage everyone in superficial debates for a very long time in rhetorics. Yet, Buhari or not, there are fundamental survival issues for Nigerians to grapple with. Hence, the call for intellectuals and professionals to join the debate. Boardrooms settle knotty issues, including those with vested interest juggling, in powerful blocks for the profitability and survival of each of the organization itself. To stand by and continue to watch events unfold from a distance will return mediocrity all the time. Lives are lost in genocides and other violence, will be blood wasted. And as I speak, the youths of Nigeria, particularly in the Lagos area, are complaining of being disenfranchised, by INEC from being able to participate in the elections because their parties were deregistered. On this program, we consider our youth to be the primary stakeholders in all the political quaking going on. The Oni of Ife recently emphatically pointed this out, but the government appears to be bent on a course to punish anyone who dares to surprise it with the end SARS kind of protest against its agenda. The political parties, in their pre-arranged setup, are blaming the youth for poor organizational skills. One would have thought that responsible political organizations would make it, consider training or mentoring these kids in the proper way, with a projection to bringing up proper leaders, well-educated leaders who can take over the realm from them. But it appears that our politicians are more considered about their own slice, how big a slice of the cake they can get, than about bringing up these young people. A young person who keeps running back to and fro from the school for the next available certificate up to PhD level, only to use that in riding an Okada, is certainly an ambitious man and a very aspirational person. He has the potential, to make political impact, but then those contributions cannot come in, even to the Nigerian economy, because all he finds himself doing is struggling with the Okada, which begs the question everyone is asking. Certainly, one of them is 2023 elections. It forms a sucker, a time frame for all of us. But then what? What happens post 2023 elections? On this program, we are looking at having professionals weigh in on the issues that are affecting all of our state policies in different ways. Professionals we know are custodians of our leadership development. They mentor, our college graduates, high-level intellectual people. The college-educated people are expected here, as executors of future policies of state. Policies of state, and the drivers of that, of whatever policy decisions they land in the process. We are expecting professors of African politics, history, and culture. Some diplomats have indicated that they will be watching and seeing how this goes. Okay, what happens? How are people take up their responsibility? The Nigerian government has been invited, and various other political actors, agitators, embassies, and whatever you may, consider them to be involved in the whole setup of moving this on. Like I said before, the time frame for our calculations is the 2023 elections, a process that has started, and it talks to the past, what has happened in the past, what's led up to this process, the 2023 elections that we are looking forward to. What are the politicians up to in moving the process in various ways? What is happening on the ground with the agitators for self-independence? And what does the future hold? Let us say the election holds. Some people are saying no elections. Some people are saying the government is insisting that they are not changing anything until the elections. After the elections in 2023, after a new president is sworn in, what happens to Nigeria? What happens to Nigeria? These are the challenges, these are the things we need to be looking at. So we will be talking tribal exits. Are they sensible? Is it a smart thing to talk about right now, or even consider right now? Some sections of the country are saying, no, we are not even participating in 2023. Okay. It's going to take us a long time to break it down. So we'll be here every Saturday afternoon, Dallas time, 3 p.m., Lagos time, 9 p.m., London time, 9 p.m. as well, to discuss these issues. Various guests will come in, to help me on this program. To help me kick off the think tank today are solid Nigerians of intellectual repute and internationally acknowledged professionals. Their reputations precede them. But briefly, help me to welcome Dr. Oladele Olusanya.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today.
Hi, meet Dr. Noah Amoluabi, or Pastor Noah as you may prefer, depending on the business setting. He is ably qualified to talk about igniting the fire of leadership in young people for the purpose of creating their own legacy. He is the thought leader behind the concept of culture psychology for acquiring the office of the chief executive. No professor teaches anyone how to make friends. As your new hire walks out of the college gate into the corporate space, the innate forces are ignited for an ambitious career based on cultured leadership skills and a sound understanding of how to build profitable workplace networks. He may be engaged with chief executives, trying to convince them about necessary changes to be included in their leadership programs. He coaches senior executives, holds small group seminars and webinars, as well as facilitate large workshops. Noah is schooled in organizational management. His international exposure in many roles gave him the opportunity to live and observe the many theories of leadership development in businesses and to coach many young people, igniting their ambitions to hop along the career leadership pathway into
to bear God-pleasing fruits. And that's the point of the Holy Ghost baptism. Understanding the point of the Holy Ghost itself, is an endowment for
Grab Noah now to energize your Generation Z for impactful business career visions and Holy Ghost-inspired church growth.
Is it a destiny for some people? Slide one. Is it a destiny of some people to suffer? Yes. Not that. No, not this one. Yeah. This is a destiny of some people to suffer. Sorry, I had to go over that because I get it right. Because I want you to see it. One. Not that one. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I apologize for that, but because this is very important. And look at that slide. That particular slide is from the Federal Reserve Bank in the US. Okay? And when you look at the column that talks about the black people, you will see that they are perennially suppressed. That's my opinion from there. And right there in the circle in red, it says it is a predictable life cycle arc. So you are born into poverty, you grow up into poverty compared to other races, and you end up being poor. So it's endemic. It's the way they are born, it's the way they live, it's the way they end up their life. This is from the Federal Reserve in the US. I don't think we have something similar in our system. If we were to look into central bank now, we'll be having states and stuff like that being, as indices. But it's very clear here that if care is not taken, some people will find themselves, whether they like it or not, it is in their gene to be perpetually oppressed, underachievers. And which, brings up the sense that, is it sensible for people to begin to find their way out if they think they are not economically viable? That the economics of the system does not pay them. Should they need to fight the political system, gain some freedom from it, so that they can, upscale this kind of data from being written about them? Who is agitating to be freed in Nigeria? Is many different groups coming up right now. It started really, the Biafrans started it off. They've been decades at it. They've been decades working at it. And you can see they've been showing some leadership in the struggle. But the emergence of the Yoruba people coming up with that story, that no, it's time for us to leave, catalyze or energize the noise level completely and change the rhetoric. And everything has been different since that time. We have seen reactions, and I pointed out the reason that Buhari came out, recently, and he's been going up and down the country. We've been seeing him. You may say he's preparing for 2023 elections, but it also shows that the government is reacting to what is happening in the polity, in the system. The government is, doing something to, prove that, they're also doing something. The legislature started a constitutional review panel. I remember Buhari himself talking about people who want to go peacefully or who have these concerns peacefully can come and negotiate. Only that if the troublemakers or whatever I call them will be dealt with. But if you, want to negotiate, you can come. We see communal violence all over the place. Next slide, please. All over the place. We see communal violence all over the place. And I bring you this particular slide for you to see something. Well, luckily, we have the author in here with us. That book was written by Dr. Oladele Olusanya, who is here with me in the studio to discuss this topic. But I was going to recommend this book anyway to all Nigerians. It's a three-book series. And it touches all Nigerians. It starts with the history of the Yoruba people and goes ahead to touch how the Yoruba culture and its political system has affected and influenced other tribes in the country. For me, the moment I started reading this book, I said to people, look, our Obas, they are very frequently quoting some Johnson, somebody from Europe, somebody from Germany. Each library everywhere in the world, in fact, everywhere they are talking African politics and history, you need to have this book there. You need to have this book for your kids, particularly those of us in the diaspora whose children are not speaking Yoruba or understand it very well. It's different whatever observations the white people saw, this is written from our own tongue, from our own culture. People who understand the inflections of and the tonal variations in the language, and it's so authoritative. We all need to understand Nigeria, who we are, if we are going to, enjoy all of this. Which takes me to the next question. Which takes me to the next round of discussion. Who are these people causing the trouble? Some people have called them bandits, and armed robbers. The agitators or fighting against the agitators. Some people have accused the Fulani people and their herdsmen creating disturbance, and the disturbances they create causes the agitation for people to want to leave. Some people have even expressed that some militia men with agenda that's similar to Boko Haram are the ones causing all the problem all over the place. We have seen genocide in the Biafran regions. We have seen recent incursions in the Gangan, in the Yoruba region. But particularly of note to me, which tended to sound like Buhari, was when I listened to the Emir of Zaria recently. And he described these people as some bandits, as if they were some foreigners. And it's occurred to me like, should the Emir of Zaria not recognize Fulani people as Fulani people? He didn't say they were Igbos. He didn't say they were Yoruba people. But he was very insistent that these were foreigners. The Emir of Zaria, I know, is a very highly educated man. And for him calling these bandits as if they were aliens is very, very challenging. I'm going to ask my people to weigh in on this matter, but because the balance, I'm going to tilt the balance towards Dr. Olatunji to help us, get on with the topic. What says you? What do you think about the situation?
Thank you so very much, my brother Noah Omoluabi. Thank you. I sent you a message, a text message. Can you check your phone, please? Yeah. Gentlemen and ladies, it's such a pleasure to be a part of this very, very good broadcast at this time. And I thank my brother Noah Omoluabi for such wonderful opportunity at such a time as this. Very, very special and crucial moment in the history of Nigeria. As a matter of fact, we stand at the turn of history. We are at the hinge. Whatever happens right now will be very, very crucial to the furtherance of the nation or to the break of the nation. I want to thank Dr. Oladele Olusoya also for being part of this today and for the book. May the Lord bless you. Let me respond very quickly to the question. Now, the journey so far. A life that is not self-examined, the philosophers say, is not worth living. A person who does not examine himself is not worthy to be alive. Part of the problem, the Nigerian problem, is inability of our people to look back and look at the trajectory of history, look at occurrences, look at what brought us thus far. The Nigerian scenario, the Nigerian history has been very, very particularly considering the African race, the history of the African race have been very, very important. Unfortunately, we have continued to see a kind of depletion in the popularity of the country, depletion in the wealth of the nation and the reputation of the Nigerian people, which is completely unfortunate. The question that was put to me directly is, what do we blame? What can we say is the cause of our problem? I will say straight on, inability of Nigerians to, decipher history or, interpret history as adequate. History is a powerful force. History helps us to know who we are, where we are coming from, where we have got things amiss. And right now, looking back at the Nigerian history will remind us, will point us, will be a very great pointer, index finger, pointing us to where we all went amiss. One of the things that comes to mind right now is the war. The war that happened within 1976, and we all know what happened in Nigeria and the fallout of the war, how it ended, how the Biafran soldiers eventually surrendered, and what had happened afterwards. And even despite the war, the leadership of the country has continued to go down the drain. The pain of the Nigerian people have never been attended. The economic situation of the Nigerian people have never been, better. The political scene has continued to be polarized. Looks like only a set of people. When I was a little boy, they always tell us that we are the future, that we are the future of the nation. They always tell us that we are the future. But up till now, they continue to tell us the same story. I was opportune to represent Nigeria in a World Bank sponsored program some decades ago, maybe almost 20, maybe 28 years ago now, outside the shore of Nigeria. And one of the things that I presented, a paper that I was opportune to present at that time, is participatory development, not involving our youth. It's like shooting our future. But these are part of the things that Mr. Noah Omoluabi had already pointed out already, that is bringing about such agitation as youth, rallies, NSAS, protests, and all that. But in 2017, I believe, 2017, October 1st, 2017, on June the 6th, to be precise, June 6, 2017, when a group of northern youths under the aegis of coalition of Ariwa youths gave all the Igbos in the 19 northern states of Nigeria what they call the Kaduna Declaration, an ultimatum to all leave, that they gave them an ultimatum to vacate, or everything they have owned will be confiscated by northern youth, and they gave them the ultimatum. The so-called Kaduna Declaration was what actually gave rise to IPOB. The Igbo people, I'm very happy that Omoluabi already clarified that it is not about the Yoruba exit. We want to look at the big picture, because it was the Igbos that championed anything called secessionism in Nigeria. They were the earliest group that agitated for separation of the union, for dissolution of the union. And right now, what gave rise to IPOB, that's Igbo, the meaning of IPOB, we all know it, Indigenous People of Biafra, that was founded by Nnamdi Kanu in 2017. Somebody who has already been arrested several times by the federal government of Nigeria. He has been, accused of treasonable felony. He has been put in prison for running pirate radio, that's Radio Biafra. He has been refused bail. There have been several court rulings granting him bail, and so on and so forth. So all these things led to pockets of unrest among the Igbo people, or the indigenous people of Biafra, so to say. Of course, not every Igbo person shares the same philosophy or the same opinion with these people, but a great majority of Igbos in Nigeria and in the Biafra have solidarity for this group, and they are, they are agitating for an indigenous nation of their own. But come to think of the South, the southern part of Nigeria, or the southwestern part of Nigeria, which is the geographical location or categorization of the Yoruba people. We also know that the Yoruba people have been significantly marginalized, just almost as much as, not as much as the Igbo people anyway. We have as a matter of fact, benefited in leadership. Of course, you know how many years Olusegun Obasanjo ruled Nigeria as a Yoruba person. You know that right now, as we talk, the vice president of Nigeria is a Yoruba man, even though Yoruba people are still of the opinion that all these ones are already quasi northern in their nature or approach to things, in their philosophy. Most Nigerians, most Yoruba person will not agree that they represent the Yorubas in their philosophy or in their fruits, in the actions that they show in the unfolding event. So I believe that all these are in the background. I want to yield to somebody else.
Thank
to
you,
talk.
sir.
This cultural center is definitely a bridge that is going to allow everyone, because I don't want to say both cultures, because we are one. Yeah. We just have been separated through time and space, but now we are bringing back ourselves. We are being called. It's like the return, you know? This is the return, the reckoning, you know? So African Americans and Africans together, coming together on this Yoruba Center platform is what we need at this time. And this organization offers 9 solid programs. We offer the language school, we offer the Arts and Heritage Museum, we offer the theater, talking drum and dance program, we offer the youth scholarship that provides scholarship to college students who are leaving high school, who have gained admission. We have the community program for families. We have the health and wellness program. All of these programs, we have the youth program. I don't want to forget that, because the youth are the future. You and I, we are the youth. So if there's anyone out there who falls in the demographic of young parents who have young children like we do, we need you to come join us, Africans and African Americans alike. Let us build a strong youth movement that has its foundation on something that we can actually count on, which is our culture and our heritage. So we invite you to come to the Yoruba Cultural Center. Of course, book a tour to come to the museum.
Amen. We are not in charge yet. Well, thank you. That was wonderful. Another exposition to the Yoruba beauty, the beauty of the Yoruba culture. Yeah, let us hear from Dr. Oladele Olusanya, what he thinks about the potential, of the agitators gaining from, the current, or being able to pull away from the current, apparently feudal system, as they call it. Let's give him the cue.
Okay, so thank you very much, Noah. Yes, I'm very happy that Dr. Olatunji has given us a kind of background to the sense that the Nigerian state is now open to lots of separatist ideas. The very fact is that if you study history, you will know that right from the very beginning, when Nigeria was founded, the people who actually were Nigerians were not consulted. It was the idea of an Englishman who was, at that time, he was a major. He became a Lord Lugard. It was just to enable the British people to harness resources of the then Nigerian colony, so that they could best exploit it for British businesses, and also to make it easier for them to rule the country. And as time went on, after 1913, and most of the Nigerians now wanted to have independence, it was apparent that the northern part of the country was behind in terms of education and political awareness. So actually, it was the seat for the country's dissolution was there from the beginning. One cannot blame the British. You cannot blame the nationalists who wanted to have Nigeria. Just as is a fact of history that country was based on very divergent interests, and that's what we are facing today. It's not so-called. It's not really feudalism. It's just that Nigeria is a failed state. It's a state that has not been able to take care of the needs of its people, whether it's political or financial or security. It's a state that doesn't have the wherewithal to provide basic infrastructure like roads, internet, telephone connections, even jobs for its college graduates. So it's in this context that you can see the Fulani herdsmen menace. It's not so much that the Fulanis are trying to rule Nigeria by force. It is that there's a complete breakdown of law and order. So all kinds of opportunities that are using this. Kidnappers, people who are just trying to make money from kidnapping. So they come in the guise of Fulanis. But let's not forget that people have been kidnapping in the southern states, from Enugu to Port Harcourt to Benin City for the past 30 years. And since people now know that we have no police force or the army to really enforce any law and order, that is why the Fulani herdsmen have come to the south. I believe that the Yorubas as a nation will do very well if they separate from Nigeria and they're able to have their own autonomy. But I think the best way to do this is to use the present system. The Yorubas are not marginalized. Yorubas are part of the process who are enjoying the Nigerian system. Yorubas are rich. So don't let's say that they are being oppressed. It's just that we cannot, our youth, our professionals, our doctors, our engineers cannot practice their profession in the present system of a backward country. So the Yorubas being, or let's say that Yorubas represent the most educated groups of Africans on the planet. They deserve better. And that is why they need to have their country where they can direct their affairs, run their schools, have their colleges to world standard. So that is the issue. It's not a matter of feudalism. It is a matter of a failed nation that has not provided any kind of comfort or security even for northerners. They are kidnapping more people in the north than in the south. Northerners are suffering more than Yorubas. Let's remember that. Even Buhari himself, he went to his hometown. Where's the hometown? Daura. He was there as the president of the country. And on that same weekend, gunmen came and kidnapped 200 students from a local high school. Every single day in the north, every single weekend, they kidnap students. Every single day. They are not doing that in the south. So let's really be very factual to know that it is not a war directed at southerners. It is an internal breakdown of law and order, wherewith people who are unscrupulous, who are just after money, are gaining from it. That is, and the Yorubas will be well served to have their own autonomous region or their own country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Before we open the lines for comments from the audience and the people listening to us, I would just want Reverend Simon to help me here. Are these people not traumatizing every part of the country? Are they aliens or are they Fulanis? Are they Nigerians or who are they? And what's going on really? Can you unmute, sir? You are muted.
Sorry, okay, thank you so much. I didn't realize I muted. Now, let me quickly do a very brief follow-up to what Dr. Olusoya said, because I think there is an overgeneralization when he was talking of how the Yorubas have enjoyed prosperity in Nigeria. You see, the word prosperity is relative, and being part of the problem is true. But I am very convinced that Yorubas largely Yorubas and the Igbos in Nigeria are very self-motivated people, and they are ingenious and very, very industrious. Great majority of the wealth or prosperity of the Yoruba people are as a result of trade and industry, the nature of the Yoruba people. It may not necessarily be something plowed directly, except for the politicians among us. It's not something directly plowed from the union. The union itself is grossly non-beneficial to the Yoruba land, because come to think of it, from the period of the restoration of democracy in Nigeria thus far, I can cite how many roads, how many infrastructure, apart from the institutions that have been built, the infrastructure that have been built during the Western region and immediately after the restoration of democracy in Nigeria, there has been no major construction of amenities, or improvement of the already constructed amenities in the Yoruba land. The overall benefit and dividend of democracy has been, kind of ceded or shifted to the northern part. So, but if you think they suffer more, then I will tell you that they may be reaping the results of maybe the difference, the dichotomy that you see in our educational level. They are not equally educated as those of us here. And some of the things that manifest as suffering for them may be as a result of or respond to or concomitant effect of illiteracy, or so to say, the level of their education, so to say. So the southwestern Nigerians have become so proactive in shaping a life of either contentment or a life of struggle for themselves. For instance, the United Nations, in a report of the United Nations about money going to Nigeria, the GDP of the entire nation is even nothing compared to the money sent home to families, friends, and to do business in Nigeria by the diaspora. And the greatest majority of people plowing these resources to their people, to their area, or to Nigeria are majorly southwestern Nigeria. As a matter of fact, 69.6% of the entire revenue, the money sent home, about 28 billion every year, that fell moved down to about 21 billion in the past year till current, has been sent home by the diaspora from the southwestern Nigeria. So looking at that, it would be overgeneral to say that because of the prosperity of the people in the region, so they are benefited from the federal board. Now, having said that, I want to quickly respond to the question Oduduwa put forward. Gentlemen and ladies, I believe very strongly that part of the thing we should be looking at for the nation at this time, part of what we should focus our attention at this point in time is how can the federal government of Nigeria, if it is not too late, how can the union create a community where rule of law guides every facet of societal interactions in Nigeria? How can they promote human dignity? How can they give people the right to live? How can they ensure freedom of religion, freedom of speech? How can they ensure protection of the vulnerable people? How can they ensure protection of great majority of people in Nigeria? These are the issues. Okay. However, because they have failed to do these things, and it does not appear that they are willing to do these things, then Nigerians, the regions, especially the Yoruba people, are now.
We need to
say that again.
Yeah, we'll take you up again after the break. Welcome back. Yeah, the lines are open for you to call in. Please call in and make your contributions. We are watching the chat as well, and we'll sort of bounce the questions around. But Dr. Lucen, what do you say? Do you have a comment on?
Yes, I just want to reiterate what I said. I did not say that Yoruba benefited from Nigeria. There is no economy to benefit from. Nigeria is a failed state. So you cannot say that we didn't benefit. The Northerners have not benefited anything. There's no money, it's just to pay salaries. Nigeria's income per year is about 35 billion. It's not up to the it's not up to what you can call the income of just Dallas City. So it's a very poor country. So what we are saying is that there's no point saying that they are not benefiting. They are just as poor. They have become less educated over the last 30 years. They become more disconnected from economic advancement. That's what we are saying. It's all of Nigeria. There is no advantage to the North in the present system at all. Only a few people at the top who are in power and enjoying it with their families, not the majority of Northerners. So what we are saying is that it's a failed state, like a failed marriage. It cannot continue. And that's for the benefit of every single group to go their own way and try to restructure something that is more beneficial, that is more sane. So we should stop trying to point fingers at just one section of society. It's a failed country. It's not the fault of the Fulanis at all. They are not enjoying anything from it, nothing. Buhari may be the president, but what money has he given to his village? Zero. What have they conducted in the North for the past 30 years? Nothing. How many schools have been built? How many colleges have they done? How many industries? Zero. So it's a failed country. And Yorubas need to have their own country so that they can now have all those things that we call a normal, modern economy. So let's stop abusing the Northern and say they're not enjoying anything.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Them every single day.
Yeah, well, yes. We're going to go on from there. My next question is, can we, Reverend Simon, can we actually expect, those people agitating to leave the union? Can they do it peaceably? Can it be done in peace?
Yeah, I believe very strongly that it can be achieved peaceably. The world history speaks, and there have been examples of nations, countries around the world that have experienced peaceful cessation from the union, and we have lots of experiences like Australia. Australia, although they had referendum in 1999 that led to restructuring of the constitution. We know about Austria, how Austria also went through a referendum. We have a lot of examples. The Hungary, Austrian experience that led to Czechoslovakia after the First World War, and all those experiences are there for us that we can. It's very possible for a country to come into agreement that our union is not working. It just depends on the responsibility of individual, and that's the place of referendum. The United Nations, I believe very strongly that the Yoruba people are in partnership with Minas. I'm part of the struggle. By the grace of God, I represent the face of the struggle. I am the head of Broadcasting Corporation, the broadcasting services for the Yoruba Nation Global Directorate, and I am the director, the media director. And we have done a lot in working hand in hand with the National Indigenous, the Alliance, the Nigerian Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, working speaking to the US Congress, speaking to the British Parliament, speaking to the Australian Parliament, speaking to French, speaking to France, speaking to Germany, other nations, and most especially United Nations, to table some of these things, some of these facts that have already been tabulated, the empirical evidences that the nation has failed, just like Dr. Olusoya rightly stated, that the obvious, let's leave aside any other sentiment, the bottom line or the common denominator that any Nigerian and even foreigners can see, that is very clear and loud, almost too loud and speaker, can see, is that this nation, Nigeria, is failed nation. The dividends of democracy is no more there. As a matter of fact, it's a failed democracy. You know, the system that brought our politicians to power has been completely reversed, has been completely sabotaged. That what we are practicing in Nigeria is no longer democracy. It's now a system of autocracy. For instance, Oduduwa, flew a clip at the beginning or just before we started this show of what somebody who was elected, democratically elected into office, an officer of the federation, the people elected leader, was saying because people are expressing their opinion that they are suffering. And rather than respond to them in civil manner, you heard how he was threatening the public. So I am of the opinion that it is possible for each of the agitating zones, the populace of Nigeria, to be allowed the opportunity to have their own nation. The United Nations has been beckoned upon. Other bodies have been called upon. We use an instrument that was sent to the federal government of Nigeria in November 2020. We call it the constitutional force majeure, and a period of 110.
May I interject a question there? And Dr. Olusoya, you are free to answer. The question that we are having, somebody popped right away, is can foreigners, can the foreign government, the United Nations, can they force the Nigerian government, to give out any portion of the country? The Biafra, Yoruba people.
Let me answer it.
Okay.
Let me answer it.
Okay.
Yeah, let me answer that question. The United Nations cannot divide Nigeria unless Nigeria was declared a mandate, just like Israel or Palestine. So Nigerians, we have to go through the Nigerian constitutional process and sort of restructuring, which has been talked about. After that, they will form 6 regions, and those regions will have some autonomy. Once they have their economic going, they have their police force, like Yoruba will call it Amotekun. Then it's after that you are now strong enough to declare yourself a nation state. Right now, we have to go through that process. It is possible, but not through the UN, not through Britain. It's not their business. It's only if there's a war. And that's what we want to avoid. If there's a war, then they will step in. But for any normal process, we have to go through our elected leaders. We have to go back and make sure we push people like Tinubu, people like Osinbajo to insist that they should have that conference that will enact laws to create strong regions that will start the process. That's the only peaceable way that we're going to do it.
Which begs the question, Reverend Simon, that what's the point of all your struggle? What's the force majeure, all the referendum, and what's the point of it?
Yeah, the United Nations have a guideline that, of course, Dr. Olusoya is very right in his submission. It's not incorrect, it's only been incomplete. So let me try to add a little to what he said, but absolutely what he said is in order. Now, the constitutional force majeure is part of the process that will lead to what Dr. Olusoya said actually. The federal government started calling for restructuring following the constitutional force majeure. What does a constitutional force majeure? What does it mean? It's a challenge that the constitution, the present operation or operatives of the constitution of Nigeria, so-called 1999 constitution, is an aberration, is having a lot of error, is like imposed. There are so much of, doctoring of this and that, and forced to the truth of Nigeria. Some loopholes have been pointed out. We cannot be so detailed about that right here because we'll leave that to another day. If we want to talk about the constitutional force majeure, we need to spend a whole show dissecting what it is about and what are the things that have been identified in the 1999 Constitution as anomalies to the existence.
I can guarantee you, sir, that we have something like that in the works.
Say that again, sir.
I say I can guarantee you that we have something like that in the works. So just get ready.
Good. So now, in effect, the constitutional force majeure is one of the steps, and that I believe was not really responded to by the federal government, but it did not fail because the concomitant effect of that force majeure has been pointing to the need for all the regions to come together, and that NINAS is doing a good job. That's why we are in cooperation with NINAS. It's a body that is, emphasizing the coalition of all the regions coming together. We have been calling our fathers. You mentioned Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Osibajo, one of Obasanjo, all of them. It's a time for them to come together with their region and speak the language that their people will understand and unite together with our region. The Yoruba people demand a kind of cooperation from these fellows in order to move forward from where we are.
Thank you. We appreciate you. I know, like I said, it's a load of questions, to bring in and to get through. And we have time. We will be doing this on a weekly basis and try to break it down for our people. Next week, we will be going to talk about something really interesting. It says the Nigerian crude oil. Is it a cause to stay or a cause to flee from? As the question is black gold. It was called gold because, it's supposed to bring prosperity to people, right? But people are attributing to it a lot of pain at this point in time. Also, we have people who have said, okay, colonize us, but just let us renegotiate this deal about this oil and gas and what have you. Let us get better percentages out of this, and then we know you like power. We don't care about power, about the power base. Next week, we'll be looking at these issues in details. The federal government recently launched a campaign on the LNG Train 7. And it seems they have won the game in teasing the political class, the political elite, who are supporting the concept, of going on with the LNG affair. So those are the things that we're going to be looking on next week. The people caught with the LNG challenge, are they betraying their tribes or their native people? We want to know what you say. We want to all come around and discuss this matter. We'll be here, same place, same time, next week, and then to come and look at all of this in detail. More to the point, we've established that there will be a way to peaceably exit from Nigeria for different tribes. That is very possible. It may be tense, but it's very possible, so long as we continue in the lines. And we have people who have intellectually channeled up, have steps to look at and to go on with this. I hope, God willing, each of the tribes will succeed in their agenda. Once again, let me thank Dr. Oladele Olusanya for granting us this time to be with us today and I know will be here with us as a resource person, as a support in the future. Dr. Olusoya is not just a physician; he's an artist, and he's a historian. Like I said before, he wrote that book that we introduced at the beginning. He wrote that book and essentially detailed the history of Nigeria in that book. It's a wonderful resource for every one of you. Thank you, Reverend Simon Olatunji. Reverend Simon is the Director of Media Services for the Yoruba Nation Global Directorate. And you heard him talk authoritatively on that concept and the way they are working on. People have called it the government in exile. Okay, the Yoruba government in exile. And that's the way things are going. We will continue to examine these issues. The Biafrans are actually coming on board to come and also talk about, their leadership role in all of this business and how it's been going on. So we look forward to having you around here next week, same time and the same place. 3 p.m. Dallas time, Distinct Radio, and all of the social media channels where you will be watching us. Thank you. I'm Noah Omoluabi.